So here is a warm-up before your test to make sure you are all ready. With factoring, you need to be a good noticer. So when you look at this first one, you need to go, hey, what do I notice about the numbers 8 and 50 and what can go into both of them? If you aren't sure, you can use your calculator. So look, you can type in GCF 8, 50, and it will tell you you can divide 2 out of both of them. So we're going to do greatest common factor of 2. So when you divide them both by 2, 8 divided by 2, you're going to get 4x squared minus, and then 50 divided by 2 gives you 25. Then you need to say, okay, what do I notice about 4 and 25? Well, both those numbers are perfect squares. So we're going to square root those to see what this splits into. It's called a difference of squares. So your square root of 4 is 2. It's going to be 2x and 2x. And then 25 is going to split into 5 and 5. It's going to be plus 5 minus 5. The reason one of them is positive and one of them is negative is because you have no x's in the middle. It's 0x. You're making it cancel out. So what you need to notice about this one is that there are 4 terms, and so that's grouping. So we're going to look just at the first two. You can divide both of those by x. They both have an x in common. So that is going to leave you with 3y plus 10. So there's going to be a 3y plus 10 in this one. It has to be. So from 6 and 20, you can divide out 2. If you aren't sure, put it in the calculator, GCF 6, 20. It'll tell you 2. Specifically, it's going to be a negative 2 since they're both negative. And when you divide that out, you will get 3y plus 10. So then the final answer in your 2 parentheses, one of them is going to be the 3y plus 10, and then one of them is going to be the other stuff, which is the x minus 2. So 4 terms means grouping. This is your regular trinomial. It's going to be the Xbox thing. This is one of the simple ones because there's not a number out front. Whenever you do this, you're just going to get your answers. So negative 21 goes on the top, negative 4 goes on the bottom. So you need to come up with numbers that multiply to be 21, add or subtract to be 4. You aren't sure, the way you can type that in is 21 divide x. Again, don't worry about the negative. We'll get to that. And then make your table. And so you can see on there 3 and 7. And then you have to decide which one gets the negative, and it's going to be the 7. 3 minus 7 is going to give you negative 4. So when you do your 2 parentheses, you're going to have x plus 3 and x minus 7. So that's one of the more simple ones because there's not a number out front. Now, this one does have a number out front. What you also want to notice is these are all bigger numbers. There's probably something that we can divide out of all of them. So again, I'm going to use my calculator. Let me get rid of all this. I'm going to type in GCF, and then the numbers were 36, 33, and 15. So see, it will tell me 3. So we're going to divide 3 out of all of those. And again, you can use the calculator. I don't want to have to keep going back and forth, but 36 divided by 3 will give you 12. And then your x squared. 33 divided by 3 will give you 11, and then your x. And then minus 15 divided by 3 will give you 5. So if you want to leave a little space, and I didn't leave much space here, but it's going to be 3 out front and then your 2 separate parentheses. Now this one's a little bit tougher because you can't just put negative 5 on the top. You have to multiply the first and the last terms. Remember me covering this up? Then I'm pointing at the 12 there. So 12 times negative 5 gives you negative 60. 11 goes on the bottom. So if you're not sure, again, 60 is kind of a bigger number. Let me go over here. I'm going to type 60 divided by x, make my table, and I'm looking for a pair of numbers that will add or subtract to be 11. So let me see if I can find those in there. I maybe did not go far enough. Oh, no, I did. There we are. 4 and 15. I see it in there. So 4 and 15 will subtract to give me 11. And then I'm going to decide what's negative. So 15 minus 4 will give you 11. Now, don't skip this step. I really can't do much partial credit if you skip this because you're kind of losing most of the problem. You have to take those and put them over 12 and reduce them. So negative 4 over 12, 15 over 12. And if you're not sure about this, the calculator will do this for you as well. If you type in negative 4 over 12, and then turn it back into a fraction, it's going to tell you negative 1/3. And same thing, if you do 15 over 12, turn it back into a fraction, it'll tell you 5/4. So negative 1/3 and 5/4 are what we got from that. And then when you write your answer, just start with the denominator. So this is going to be 3x minus 1, and this one's going to be 4x plus 5. So please use your calculator. It will do so much for you. You can do GCF, you can make the table, you can have it reduce fractions for you. And let me go back to the previous one, because this one with that number there, it's going to be kind of big, but you can always type the problem. And if it's multiple choice, you can type the choices as well and make sure it matches. So for example, I'm going to type in problem 3 there. You have x squared minus 4x minus 21. See how it gives you this U shape here? Now the answer we got for that is x plus 3, x minus 7. Do you see how it matches up right exactly on it? So if it's multiple choice, you can do that. See if it was wrong, like if you put a 6 instead of a 7, see how they don't match up, but when I put a 7, it matches up exactly. So please use your calculator. There's a bunch of questions on the test that are multiple choice, and you can just type them in and pick the one that matches. There's a matching section too, so please use your calculator. All right, this one's division. We're gonna draw our X box. This is one of the simple ones because there's not a number out front. 12 goes on the top, 8 goes on the bottom. It's nice because everything's positive. 2 times 6 will give you 12. 2 plus 6 will give you 8. So it's going to split into x plus 2, x plus 6, and then that is divided by x plus 2. And then these cancel, and so your answer is just the one that's left. All right, I'm going to do one more. So for this one, we want to get x by itself. See how they both have an x? You can factor an x out, greatest common factor. What's left is the m minus 7. And then to get the x by itself, you're dividing both sides by m minus 7. So when those cancel out, x is alone, and then this part is your answer.